Hello everybody, Scott Golden here with Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the Impact Review for the 8th of September 2020. Overall, not a bad show, but not a show that I particularly liked. I know there's other reviewers and people on social media that liked the show more than I did. But then there's some talent that I'm not really a fan of that was featured in this show, and some talent that I thought should have been more featured than they were. Opening video highlights EC3's threats to Moose. Hopefully, EC3 topples the Moose eventually, and Eric Young defeating Eddie Edwards to win the championship. Eric Young comes down to the ring. He says he's a world-class wrestler and champion, and says all he ever wanted to do upon returning was to regain the championship. Isn't that what everyone should do? Alicia Edwards comes out, and she says that Young is a coward for injuring Rich Swann and Eddie, but Eddie will make a comeback and take what's his, and he said he came back from taking a baseball bat in the eye. That's referencing the Sammy Callahan thing from forever ago. Anyway, Alicia says that Young hurt her family, and she said she doesn't think that he cares at all about this. Edward slaps Young, and Dreamer comes in, saves her, so that ultimately, man-on-woman violence doesn't happen. And then they run after each other with a kendo stick. Tommy Dreamer cuts a promo and says that Swann and Edwards are like family to him. He says that Young decided to leave. Swann and Eddie were the ones that kept Impact running. And Dreamer says he was using his influence within the company to get a fight with Young tonight. Should you really be talking about influence if you're a wrestler? I hate the inside-outside kind of stuff. Matthews and Rain introduce the show. They run down the card. Moose is traveling by plane to where he believes that EC3 has the championship. Rosemary Bravo and Taiya talked about their upcoming wedding. Rosemary talked to Bravo and said that Taiya could take care of the wedding planning. Rosemary would resurrect James Mitchell to officiate the wedding. This could be fun. Of course, with all wrestling weddings except Randy Savage and Elizabeth, something is going to get interfered with. So that makes me sad. I actually like the Rosemary character with Bravo as a couple for at least a few weeks, but we probably won't get there in full totality. TJP defeats Chris Bray. Not the best match. They exchange strikes. Bray tries to go too quickly, and TJP comes out ahead. Bray sends him flying with an overhead toss, and he follows up by getting an armbar, but Bray escapes. Raju comes out to watch. Bray turned the offense around and managed to send TJP into the corner. TJP hits a reverse Rana and a springboard dropkick to the floor. TJP heads to the top rope. Bray pulls the referee over, and Bray goes to attack TJP. He's caught with another armbar. I will say TJP, one of the better transitional guys into armbars. I think he has some MMA training, and I think it shows through here. Bray rakes the eyes and drops him with a clothesline. We go to commercial. We come back. Bray working over TJP with really basic moves. Gets a snapmare and a diving lariat for another near fall. TJP rolls through a gory bomb into a Yoshi Tonic and into a Chancery. And again, Bray goes to the eyes. I mean, they really are putting Bray over as a heel. I'll give them credit there. I don't know if it's too late for that, and I think he should have held on to the X Division Championship a bit longer if they were going to go this way with it. Bray gets a torture rack into a cutter for yet another near fall. Bray tries a slingshot sunset flip, but he rolls through, and TJP gets the pin. Good run here. Johnny Swinger returns to locker room talk with Madison Rayne next. Kylie Ray and Susie are the guests. Madison asks about Wrestle House, but Ray says Madison says that Kylie Ray is dodging Deanna Purrazzo. Purrazzo and Kimberly interrupt the segment, and they challenge them to a tag match next week. So Susie and Kylie will face Purrazzo and Kimberly next week. Bravo is on the phone when Tasha Steele and Kara Hogan interrupt him. They start bullying him about being invited to the wedding. Bravo brings up Taiya, and both Steele and Hogan told Bravo he needed to be his own man. I don't really like this. I think the story is moving a little too fast. I'd like to have seen Rosemary and Bravo at least celebrate being a couple for a week. Anyway, but they continue the story where Bravo can't stand up to Taiya. Brian Myers comes down to the ring. He tells Willie Mack they got off on the wrong foot. He says he's a superstar, so Mack shouldn't be upset by losing to him. Mack should follow the tradition and pay respect to those that paved the way for guys like him. He calls out Mack to shake his hand. Mack comes out and said he wasn't there to shake hands. He's there to do battle. Impact gives him a rematch, and the two go into the rematch. I think this is a waste of Brian Myers, but then again, I don't see anything in Willie Mack, so maybe that I'm a little biased. Anyway, Myers tries to get Mack to shake his hand. Mack refuses. Mack catches him with a lariat and a back elbow. Myers drops to the floor and hits a pescado. Myers dodges Mack, getting back in the ring, and uses the apron as a weapon. Myers then starts stomping and punching Mack, hitting a suplex for a near fall. Myers goes and hangs with a headlock for a long time. Mack makes a comeback. A little too long for this age of wrestling. I love the headlocks and the holds. I'd rather see holds all day and guys not get hurt, but I know it doesn't fit with the 2020 audience. Anyway, Matt comes back with some clotheslines, back elbows, and a leg drop for near fall. Mack hits a Samoan drop and a moonsault combination for another near fall, and then goes for the stunner, but Myers goes for the eyes. What's with the eyes tonight? Just seems like a really big thing. Matt gets taken out by a huge spine buster. Spine busters also seem popular on this particular occasion. And Myers hits a low blow and then hits a DDT finish for the win. And Mack looks like he is a enhancement talent at best, but maybe that's the role he should be in. Anyway, GM Miller interviews Jordan Grace about last week's confrontation. She says she has issues with Tenille about not being an Impact and thinking she can come back whenever she wants. Jordan tells her to follow her to Tenille's locker room so they could ask her about it directly. The returning Caleb Conley answers the door instead. He says he's now Tenille's personal photographer, so I guess it's kind of like paparazzi. Anyway, and Tenille wasn't there. They played a vignette for Tenille's return next week. I don't know that she's that good that she deserved all this hype. Anyway, Hogan and Steele planned out how they are going to coach Bravo, but Taiya confronted them, told them not to talk to him at all. And then we move to the World Tag Team Championship match. Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, and Chris Saban versus the Radicals, Desmond and Xavier. Zachary Wentz to retain the championships. Challengers jump the champions with drop kicks during the entrance. Topes. And then there's a couple running elbows and drop kicks on Shelley. Saban gets hit with a few kicks before near fall. Desmond starts working over Saban, gets tag off to his partner, and then there's a moonsault for near fall there. Shelley blind tags and work over Wentz's leg so he couldn't even get up. This is good tag wrestling and makes a lot of sense. But he still tries to fight through, showing heart. So even though it's a babyface versus babyface match, you care about both teams and you care about who wins. This is novel. Anyway, so Shelley hits a Rana into a knee stomp, followed by a PK, and then Shelley locks in a knee bar, and Des tries to make the save. Caught with an octopus stretch. Wentz manages to get Saban off of him and hits a standing shooting star press on Shelley. And then Shelley is knocked off, tags out. Desmond and Saban are tagged in, and there's punches, kicks, and all of that. Saban gets nailed with several strikes. Xavier follows with a back elbow for near fall. Wentz and Shelley get involved, and Xavier hits a super kick on Saban, followed by a jumping knee with the opposite knee. Wentz and goes back and hits the flame. Saban moved away, letting Wentz crash and burn. Shelley comes back, and they recover and hit the STF into a dropkick combo on Xavier. Hit the ASCS rush and a double driver on Wentz for the win. Good match for everybody involved. If you like high spot matches, this is for you. They're not my thing, but I understand their placement on cards. After the match, the North jumped the champions and the challengers. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton come down, and they attack them too. North and Ace and Fulton face off before Paige told them that each team could get their own machine gun to attack. Eventually, the Good Brothers come out and break that up. The North, ultimately, this is just a good sign that there are 4 tag teams that people should care about, and that's a big thing in this type of situation. Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes announced they are going to host a talk show, the Whole Effing Talk Show, next week. Not a fan of this. Rob isn't a talker. I don't get the Katie Forbes thing. She's average looking. She's annoying for the sake of being annoying. I don't get it. Anyway, Sami Callihan in his computer room cuts a promo about getting beat up last week. But he blames Katie Forbes, and he says she's a pain to deal with. Next week, he says that their talk show is debuting, but he says he won't hack the show. He says he has other plans, and I don't know, it doesn't really lead anywhere. Taiya Valkyrie with Johnny Bravo defeats Tasha Steele with Kiera Hogan. This was not, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great either. Taiya and Steele start yelling at each other. They get into strikes. Taiya getting the better of the strikes. Tasha hits a shoulder tackle. Taiya does some lucha stuff and a running drop kick for a near fall. Taiya is going for a running lariat. Hogan trips her from the outside, and her partner gets the better of the adversary. European uppercuts and a neckbreaker for a near fall. Bravo's on his phone planning the wedding the whole time. Tasha goes for the Bulldog. Taiya manages to block and drop her with a sit-out powerbomb. That was tight looking. Taiya confronted Bravo, gets annoyed, and basically Hogan says the wedding's more important than her, and then that gets even worse. The Valhalla for the win. Taiya looked decent here if you like her. I never got into her, so I could have done without this match anyway. Kara Hogan jumps Taiya, aided by Steele. Bravo finally gets involved. Then we go back to Moose, who is there to see his old high school football coach. Asks a favor, asks if he's seen EC3. Coach says he hadn't, but before Moose left, Coach tells Moose to control his narrative and that he's been warned. And he takes out several people that look like they could be EC3. Flashback moment of the week, EC3 and Eddie Edwards versus Moose and Mike Kanellis from 2016. Yeah, I hate these flashbacks, but I talked about that already. Rhino and Heath meet outside the building. They're talking about the tag team match from last week and says that the stunt from last week could make things harder for them. And Rhino says he knows where to get money for Heath. Anyway, Matthews and Rain run down the card for next week. Ferrazzo and Kimberly versus Kylie Ray and Susie. Brian Myers versus Mac for a third time. Taiya versus Kiera Hogan. North Ace Austin. And Fulton versus the Radicals and Motor City Machine Guns. And Triple XL versus the Deaners. We go to our main event. Not my favorite main event. Eric Young defeats Tommy Dreamer in an old school hardcore style match to retain the title. Dreamer catches the champion early with scoop slams before going to get a kendo stick. Young dodges and attacks, goes to the top rope. Dreamer caught him coming down and sent him to the floor. Dreamer then pulls a chain out and goes after the eyes of the champion, and they fight around the ring. Dreamer is slammed in the apron and rammed into the ring post. Tries to pile drive Dreamer on the floor, but Dreamer counters. Dreamer hits Young with a street sign, pulls out some chairs, goes back in the ring, and used some kitchen appliances to continue the attack. Dreamer goes for superplex onto the chairs, but it backfires on Dreamer. Young now in control and beats up Dreamer for quite a while. Young starts using some of the weapons in the ring, hits Dreamer with a chair, and then a steel chair buster. Dreamer manages to hit a cutter out of that. They exchange strikes in the middle until Dreamer hits the atomic elbow and gets a near fall. Clip of Dreamer's knee by Young, and then they go for the figure four. That seems to be a popular move tonight amongst the shows. Dreamer reaches for the kendo stick and hits Young until he releases it, and Young keeps the offense on the knee with a drop kick. Use of a trash can, followed by a DDT for another 2 count. Dreamer brings out a table and sets it up in the corner. Young hits a low blow before Dreamer could do anything with the table. Dreamer goes for the DVD through the table, but Young had a hockey mask on, and he uses that on Dreamer to pile drive him for the win. And, I mean, Dreamer has good matches for what it is, but I'm not sure that a almost 50-year-old Dreamer should be in your main event segment of any show at this point. Post-match, EY goes after Dreamer's knee, tries to Pillmanize him. Rich Swann runs down. He's limping. He attacks Young on only one foot, and the show goes off the air with this. Rich Swann's comeback and hopeful win of the championship will be good TV. Maybe that will happen at Bound for Glory. But anyway, that's your Impact review. We'll be up probably with more world-class stuff in the midst of January 84 over there. And until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.